For a country that is not so digitalized as others, surprisingly enough, online shopping is a thing in Germany. You might experience some unique things though, like for example, brands, conditions, additional costs, return policies, and whatnot. In this video, we're gonna explore all these things and unriddle the online shopping world for you in Germany. Hey, my name is Jen and I'm from Guatemala.
And mine is Yvonne and I'm German.
And together we're from simplegermany.com, where we create English content to empower internationals to settle into life in Germany more smoothly.
So the biggest online shop in Germany, surprise, surprise, is Amazon.
Yeah, so there you can pretty much buy absolutely everything and anything. Second one is Otto.
Otto.
That's the German pronunciation.
It's the Otto Group. And the Otto Group used to they made the transition from a catalog. They were like a catalog brand. They probably still have it, but they made the transition to really being big online as well. And there you can pretty much also get anything from electronics to home furnishing to clothes to toys to kitchen, anything.
Yeah. Third one actually is Zalando, or pronounced in German.
Zalando.
Oh, it's not Zalando.
So Zalando is actually, I would say, the German Amazon for fashion. It's like a German company based in Berlin, and that is where you buy a lot of clothes.
And number 4 is MediaMarkt.
MediaMarkt, together with Saturn, they're actually the same company, just two different brands, is the home for electronics in Germany.
Yes, which I would also argue sometimes Amazon is a better luck. I strike better with Amazon than MediaMarkt.
Well, I mean, it depends a little bit, right, what you're looking for.
Yeah. And now for a super interesting statistics is what do actually Germans buy the most online? And number 1, surprisingly enough, is clothes.
That's crazy, yeah.
Yeah, especially when you consider that clothing is the one thing that you might want to like try out in a shop, feel the material and whatnot. But I would say this is contributed to the easiness of returning clothing or online stuff in Germany.
Which we will discuss a bit later in the video in detail.
Yes, which is not necessarily a good thing, I would say.
Exactly. Number 2 and 3 is kind of like a mix of computers, telecommunications, electronics, software, like all that shenanigans.
Very good. And number 4 is actually house goods and appliances. So I would argue this is when actually the Germans need a new kitchen. They would probably order it online.
Parts of it, yeah, the appliances.
Yeah.
And number 5 is furniture. So that is actually also a very big question we've gotten from you beautiful people. Is like, where do I buy furniture for my flat that is empty, right? Because most flats are unfurnished.
Yeah.
And here, in terms of online shops, the biggest furniture stores in Germany are IKEA, yes. But also the group of XX Lutz, not sure if it's XXL Lutz, not sure, but XXX Lutz. Also Höfner, Porter and Otto are very big German companies, online and offline, where you can buy furniture. If you're looking for a local furniture store that is not one of the big brands, you can simply Google for Einrichtungshaus oder Möbelhaus.
Yeah, BAMS. And the name of your city, I would say, so to find it like closer to where you're living.
Now, next to the goods that are very popular to be bought online shopping has expanded or been combined with delivery services. And that has actually also grown within Germany in the past years. And here we would like to distinguish between groceries and other things. So let's start with groceries.
Yes, so in groceries, you have the traditional kind of like supermarkets where you put your things in the basket, then you find a time frame or a day and a time window where the delivery service could be delivered to you. And the most typical ones are Rewe, Edeka 24, and a few other very local ones like, what was the name of it?
Bringmeister is only in Berlin, Munich and Augsburg. Rewe by far is the most widespread nationwide.
Yes, another popular service is Picnic, and that's a Dutch company. And they are very kind of like picky on the areas where they deliver, just because they have a very small truck and logistically speaking, they try to be fast and it's not in every city available.
And Picnic is only actually here in Düsseldorf and the Rhein-Ruhr area. So in NRW, they're not in any other part of the country.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. And then there's also Amazon Fresh. Yes, Amazon also does grocery deliveries, but that is only available in Berlin, Hamburg and Munich, so in the biggest cities.
Yeah. And now for the big boom that happened in 2020 regarding groceries is this 10-minute delivery of groceries to your door. And that has been super revolutionary. Big scandal and also controversy around this service. Of course, if you just Google information about it, you will see why. But we still want to mention the most popular services, which are Gorillas, Flink, and Getir.
And the good part for you in this case is that all three are English speaking in terms of their app also, whereas the traditional supermarkets are mostly only in German.
Yes, I would say for us, to be honest, these delivery services have been a lifesaver at times, because for one reason or another that we have not been able to go to the grocery ourselves, either because we're both sick or because of any other kind of like emergency, this has allowed us to get some fresh food in our house that would have not been possible before.
Right, but usually we do our grocery shopping in our local supermarket.
Yes, so I would say it's best to combine local shopping when you can, and if you do have an emergency, just to know that these services are there. Another thing that gets delivered very often are drinks, which is amazing. There's this service called Flaschenpost, which is really like the postal service of bottles. That is only available actually in NRW area and the bigger cities of Germany, which actually, funnily enough, they also added groceries to their mix. But the Flaschenpost for the drinks is amazing because when you have a party, you pre-order the drinks there and they get delivered.
And especially if, again, you live in a place like ours without an elevator, those big, strong guys actually carry up the crates all the stairs and we don't break our backs.
Yes.
It's kind of like mean, but they're stronger than us.
They are.
But I also used the service quite often back in the day in the office. You know, when we had like an event in the evening or whatsoever. Again, we were in a city center. There was no way to get a car or go to like a Getränkemarkt or anything. And this was just super convenient.
Yeah, which I totally agree.
And they also take your empty bottles and get the fund back. So that's also super convenient.
That is super nice. Another company besides Flaschenpost is another one called Durst, which is actually thirst, if you translate it, which does pretty much the same thing.
Exactly. When it comes to the takeout world, so that you order food at restaurants or delivery service companies, Lieferando is by far the dominating party in Germany. You see the orange all over the place. But also recently there have been more competitors joining, such as Volt, and you can of course always still order at your local restaurant and go and pick it up yourself.
Yes, I would say that might be the most liked idea in our life, just because we know that Lieferando, for example, takes a 30% cut of every order from the restaurant. That's a big cut. So we prefer to actually order it, call up, and then go pick it up ourselves if possible. And a new boom also that recently has started because of a new thing called E-Rezepte in Germany, which is like e-recipes. No, not recipes. Prescriptions.
I think it's about to start. It's not started yet, but pharmacies are ready for it.
And that is delivery service of medication. And now the big player in the market is one called Made.
That is similar to Gorilla's Flink that delivers within 10 minutes.
Yes.
There are other like Shop Apotheke and Doc Morris that do kind of like the Rewe style online shopping of medicine.
Yeah, so that means that you order and you need to wait 1 or 2 days for it to be delivered to you directly. Now, a question for you is, do you prefer to buy things online or to go to a store? For us personally, we have to be honest, we've loved to shop online until I would say last year when we realized actually, of course, a lot of local stores were dying. So we started to make an effort to, before we look online, let's go to a local shop and see if we can find it. Or 2, we would say. And then if there would be no chance or it would be just extremely too expensive for us to afford it, then we would buy it online. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Germany is not a very digitalized country. However, the interesting fact comes when asking, how do people pay online? You know, especially when you know that cash is king in Germany.
Yeah, what is the most used online payment method?
Yeah.
And to be honest, when I did the research on this, I had to read it twice because I was a little bit confused. Because the number one payment method used in Germany, I would say by Germans, but in Germany, online is actually the e-wallet, which is the equivalent of PayPal or Alipay. Now, to be honest, I recently noticed that Aldi introduced Alipay at their checkouts in the supermarkets, but I did not know that Alipay is that popular in Germany in terms of like also online payment or any payment in general. That was a big surprise to me.
I would say it's very cute because you said that is very popular. Number 2, which is not a surprise to me at all, and that is via invoice. And that is super interesting. So that means that you buy something online. When you buy it, I'm not so sure if it arrives with the package or afterwards, but then you get an invoice that tells you a bank account where you can actually make the transfer of the money for the payment.
Which pretty much means you don't prepay it. You only pay it really when you receive the good.
Yeah, and I would say I used to work in an e-commerce company and German, where it was like of all of Europe and also US and Latin America. And it was actually a big deal for the German market to have this invoice payment, which was very interesting.
Number 3 is the classic standard by card. Visa, MasterCard are here the biggest players. Whether it's debit or credit, doesn't really matter in that case. Number 4 is actually a wire transfer, which is pretty similar to an invoice. The only difference is that you don't wait to receive the invoice with the good, but you actually choose to wire the money in the moment of a purchase. So that instead of, entering your card details or your PayPal or Alipay address, you open a separate window to your bank account directly and wire the money directly.
That's interesting. And number 4 is Klarna, which is buy it now and pay later through installments, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Now let's jump into 4 important things you need to know when you do online shopping in Germany. Number 1 is shipping. So every online shop has a different shipping policy and whatnot. And most of the times, actually, shipping is not free. You need to pay an additional amount to get your parcel delivered to you. Some online shops say if you order a minimum of 50 euros, 100 or 200 euros, then sending is free. The thing you need to be aware of is this acronym of ZZGL, which means
zuzüglich, so additional, and often says zuzüglich Versand. That means that shipping is additional to the cost that you see.
And also very interesting is depending on the product, the delivery time can be between 1 to 6 weeks. Of course, if you have Amazon Prime, this one can be sometimes 24 hours. However, we ordered a couch a few months ago, and that couch is super cool, I think, because it's only produced after they received a payment of an order, which I think is amazing. But for that, of course, you need to wait a little bit longer for the item to be delivered.
Yeah, definitely. So at the end of the day, when it comes to shipping and most of the other things we'll mention now, is that you need to read the fine print or at least take a quick look at what does it say in terms of shipping and returns. Is it included? Is it not? What are the policies?
Now, number 2 is the parcel delivery. So when are you going to get that package in your sweet inbox or house?
I was going to say inbox.
Or depends how big it is.
So there is 3 main delivery companies in Germany. The DHL yellow trucks, very popular, the blue Hermes, and the brown DPD. There also is GLS, but that's more company shippings, really. I've never really interacted with GLS much.
Yeah.
And funny enough, it could be simpler, but it's not. All 3 companies have different ways they handle deliveries.
Yes. So for example, when DHL arrives to your home, they might or might not try to ring your doorbell. And if no one picks up, then they will leave a yellow paper in your mailbox telling you for the nearest kiosk that you will be able to pick up your parcel. Bear in mind that usually that delivery time is the next day after like 3 p.m. or something. It has happened before that we're super excited, go to the postal office.
The same day, yeah.
The same day, wait, I don't know how long on the queue, and they're like, dude, like it says here it's not here yet. So yeah, so bear that in mind. And usually the postal office or this kiosk has your parcel for up to 7 days. Another alternative is that they can leave your parcel in these locker boxes that are usually now close to supermarkets or in the middle of cities actually. But you would find all that information and the address in this yellow this yellow slip that you get in your mailbox from DHL.
Correct. So that means DHL is only trying to deliver once and otherwise deposit the box somewhere else.
Yes.
Whereas Hermes, for example, they actually try to deliver 4 times. That is, for me, like a really a big amount. Yeah. And if they don't reach you after 4 tries, then they actually also leave the box in the closest Hermes depot, which is usually not as close in the city center or walking distance, for up to 10 days.
Now, kind of like the tricky one is the DPD packages, because they try to deliver the package twice, one day after, like in consecutive days. And if they're not successful, the package gets shipped back.
So if you know you get a package with DPD, you better make sure that you or someone else is able to receive that package.
Yes.
Speaking of sending back, so the other 2 delivery services, DHL and Hermes, if you don't pick the package up after the 7 or 10 days, it will also be sent back.
Now, number 3, and that is a big thing that you need to read in the fine print of every online shop, is what is their return policy.
Now, generally speaking, there is an EU law that says that any good that you purchase online, you have the right to withdraw from that contract for 14 days.
Wow.
Now, there are small exceptions, but they are not relevant for this video.
And depending on the online shop, either return shipping is included, so you don't need to pay absolutely anything, or you actually need to pay for that shipping yourself. And this is to discourage returning things back.
Right. There's a big debate going on right now in Germany because, of course, not everyone, but some people take advantage of free returns and just order, like, for example, if you would need new running shoes, instead of ordering 1 pair, they order 5 and then know they're already going to send back 4. And that is not cool for the environment, for the products, because we also know that not every company is reusing the returned products. Yeah. So for several reasons, there's this big debate that returning should always be paid, unless there is a proper reason for it, like the good is damaged or anything like that. So this is a hot debate, and that might change in the future.
Yes, which is very interesting, I would say. Another thing you should pay attention to is that sometimes in your package you do receive like a return label in it already, which means that you just need to put that return label on the outside part of the box. But other times you would need to go to the online shop and either contact their customer service to get the return label sent to you through email, or they're
print it yourself
sometimes, or download it from your your account on the online shop. So that really depends from online shop to online shop.
Right. Most often than not, you also in the package that you receive have a paper that is a return paper where you need to mark which of the goods you're sending back and for what reason. If it's not in the paper, you sometimes also need to do that online in the customer portal.
When you want to return your package, you cannot just show up to any kiosk or delivery postal office to give it back. You actually need to pay attention to what service the online shop is using and go to that one. So for example, for DHL, you need to go to a DHL office. For Hermes, you need to go to a kiosk or a other office that accepts Hermes packages and so on. So just be sure to read the label and the postal service that was used for shipping your service. And that's most likely the one that you're going to need to use to send it back.
Sometimes you can choose, but sometimes you can't. For DHL, you actually also have the option to book online an appointment with a DHL driver that they come to your house and pick up a package for you. So you don't have to make the way to the postal office. This is usually around €3, this service. Okay. Or if you have more than 4 packages to be picked up, it's free. Another alternative could be that you can also, whenever you know, because the DHL person usually frequents a house
around the same time,
on a regular basis throughout a week, just hand the package to a DHL delivery guy, even if it's not delivering anything to you. And if they have space, they are happy to take the package with you. The only downside here is that you don't get a confirmation slip that you have shipped it back, which you usually would get in a kiosk or in a postal office.
Yes, and I would say then just go to a kiosk or a postal office, because I think sometimes that slip is very important. So number 4 is what happens with international shipping. That is very common, actually, if you find an online shop that is not in Germany. And this is a little bit tricky because sometimes you might have additional costs they need to pay for customs, for example, which are not necessarily disclaimed on the online shop.
Exactly.
It has happened to me.
Yeah. And in my research, I was also flabbergasted to see how many Germans order abroad online, especially in China. 38% of Germans order online in China or from China. That is crazy. Yeah.
I think that's like what's it called?
Alibaba.
Alibaba and stuff like that, and services like that. 11% actually order from shops from the UK.
And 8% order in Austria.
Now, when you do online shopping from shops that are outside of the EU, there are some important things that you need to keep in mind.
And that is what we earlier mentioned, the customs fee.
Yes.
So you need to pay, if a good is more than €5 that you order, you need to pay import sales tax. That is pretty much the same as the VAT or the Mehrwertsteuer that you pay in Germany anyway. So depending on the good, it's 7 or 19%. Now for any good that costs more than €150 on top of the import sales tax, you also will most likely have to pay customs fees and, depending on the good, consumptions tax. And additionally, some delivery services charge an extra fee also to handle international shipping. For example, the German Post, the Deutsche Post, currently charges €6 just to handle an international package. So it really adds up.
So as an example, imagine you're in Germany and you want to buy a cheap phone case from, let's say, an online shop in China. So let's say the purchase price is €7. Now the import sales tax would be €1.33. The delivery service charge would be €6. And in total, you would be paying €14.33. I think by that price, it would be cheaper maybe if you find a phone case also here in Germany.
Yeah, it just shows that you're actually paying double the price of what the original product costs.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Now in the description box below, we will link a calculator with which you can kind of pre-calculate, not to the exact, but to get an estimate of what additional cost you might have to pay if you order something internationally.
Yes, I must say from personal experiences, not every time that I have ordered internationally, I've had to have paid an extra tax for it. I think sometimes randomly customs check certain parcels and that's where they add the taxes and whatnot. So it could happen and it could not. But if you order internationally, just be aware that that could be a thing that will be charged additionally. So don't be surprised that you need to pay extra to the delivery person when you get the parcel.
Exactly. And most often than not, I was just going to say they don't always get delivered if there's a customs stamp on it, but you actually have to go pick it up and pay at the post office. It really depends.
In order to shop online in Germany, you most likely need a German bank account that supports online payments. If you're looking for one, make sure to check out our video of the best bank accounts for internationals in Germany, which is there. You can click there. Until next time, cheers! Online shopping. Oh.
Shopping?
Shopping. Let's do it again. Yeah. I would say that's like
Alibaba.
Alibaba. Ali.